Welcome to the Academy of Being with Tara McCollum. Get ready for an unorthodox invitation to being you and experiencing a life that defies logic and expands miracles. Have you ever thought to yourself, what else is possible in this life? Have you ever wondered if you were missing something or could become so much more? If you said yes, then join me as I take you to places you have only dared to dream about. I will break you open and expose the brilliant core of your being, empowering you to be and have a life beyond this reality.
Hi everyone, this is Tara with the Academy of Being, and today we're going to talk about pivotal and practical self-care. Really what we're going to get into is how your body talks to you and invites you to take care of it so that it can keep on going. And then many times it demands it of you, but I'm going to talk about the invitations first. Now, this could be a subject for everyone, but I am going to focus on women, specifically moms right now. And I'm going to ask you, when was the last time that your body invited you, asked, begged for a break? And I wonder if when it was asking and begging you for a break, if you just said, maybe in a couple days. I've got a lot to do today and, I'll get to you in a couple days. And then what happens in a couple of days? Do you actually take the break? Do you actually take the nap or get out on your own? If you're anything like me, the answer is no. Because you get so good at turning off those voices inside you that say what it needs and power through that you become this amazing expert at powering through, and you just think that you can handle just about anything and you'll be fine. One of my favorite sayings was, I'm fine, I'm okay. It's like, I'll always be fine. I'll always be fine. And I realized that that wasn't a service to me or to anyone else. Now, for me, my body got really loud and a whole lot of different things have happened in order to get my attention and in order to get me to take care of myself. So I'm going to list them out because how much fun can that be to share with you and be completely transparent about what it took for me to get, for my body to get my attention and to start actually paying attention and caring for it. So the biggest one was I nearly died of HELLP syndrome. And that's where your blood platelets go so low that you could, this is really gross, bleed out of any orifice. And your organs and your liver enzymes are so high that any organ, especially your liver, could explode at any moment. So this is while I was pregnant with my first son. The survival rate on that is not very high for the baby or for the mother, and most people walk away from that with a lot of issues. I can say that I walked away from it with my life and my son's life, and before too long, we were able to completely turn it around. That's another subject in itself on how I turned it around and how that was one of the greatest invitations to me to move into a space of miracle and living from the space of infinite. But I also want to bring up a lot of littler things because sometimes we can even overlook the little things with way more ease and then just stuff them down and they snowball into bigger things. So I had a bad gallbladder for a long time. So much so that I had to go to an acupuncturist and nearly had it taken out of my body until I chose to actually start to show up for myself. So I reversed the issues with my gallbladder by listening to what my body needed, from the way I was fueling it with nutrition and movement, but also to how I was responding to its screams for more self-care in the way of taking a break at different times, not continuing to power through. So the gallbladder, HELLP syndrome. What else? I have also dealt with really severe IBS. My stomach is where a lot of my stress hits, and I can immediately feel how it decides to just curl up and die, I feel like sometimes. And so my stomach is the greatest and the fastest indicator to me if I'm ignoring my own needs. And so these three things I will give to you. There's other tinier things like headaches here and there, pure exhaustion, things like that. The body is a miraculous, wise thing. It's wise, everybody. It's wise. Our brain just tells you can power on, and sometimes you need to take a break, and your body is demanding and asking for it. And it will let you know, and it will take you out if it needs to. So, like just like me, it was willing to let me lay in a hospital unless I was willing to change my ways. And I'll be honest, way back when this was all occurring, I felt as though I didn't have a choice. Like I needed to power on. I was a mom. I had a full-time job. I was managing other people. It was my job to keep on going. It wasn't my job to take a break. It wasn't my job to feel like I needed rest. And it was my job to make everyone else happy. And I really felt like it was my job to ignore my own needs in order to service everyone else's. Well, I don't want you to go through what I've gone through in order to receive the invitation that my body was giving to me, that I mattered too. And I really say it in that way. I don't say it was a lesson. I say it's an invitation because to me, lessons feel like a smackdown, like somebody's smacking my hand and saying, "You've been doing it wrong all along." Whereas I truly believe that my body is constantly inviting me to a more full life, a more meaningful life, one that's filled with deeper connection. And what I started to realize is that me powering through eliminated the assistance and the connection of all of those around me, whether it was my employees, my husband at the time, my friends. I just felt like I could do it all by myself. And so I was very, very separate. I didn't even realize that that is what I was creating. But by the powering through, I was separating myself from the very people that I desired to be connected to. But I was so distracted in the doing that I didn't even realize what I was creating until I was knocked on my ass. I'll just be honest. Right? So, how is life knocking you out right now? How is it knocking you on your ass in order to get your attention so that you can look up and see what you're truly creating and that you have other possibilities that are available to you if you just stopped being the one who had all the answers, did all the effort, and took all the responsibility on? If you just let in your own needs and then also let in the universe at large and also the universe through other people as assistants in order to take some of the load off of you. There's a really big fallacy out there that we're supposed to do this thing all by ourselves, that it's all supposed to be on us, especially as women, when it's really not. Our job, if I can say so, our job is to teach others how to be empowered and to be connected, how to slot in. And especially if you have daughters, please teach them how to reach out for help, right? How to ask, how to also serve themselves by taking breaks. And then just allowing whatever needs to happen during those breaks. Sometimes you don't even need to ask. for somebody else's help. But if you take the break, you actually leave the space for them to rise up and to choose into something, to choose into solving a problem that maybe you never gave them the chance to solve because you were always in the way. Whew, that feels heavy. I don't want it to feel heavy, and yet sometimes we have to feel the weight of our choices in order to choose something that's different and lighter, but might be crazy uncomfortable for a while. That space of waiting and taking care of ourselves can feel really uncomfortable. And yet, that short space of discomfort is the word, sorry. That short space of discomfort can actually be a power-filled space that brings in the greatest comfort that we've ever hoped for, longed for, and never thought we could possibly have. The one that includes support. So how is your life, your body, and everything else inviting in deeper support, deeper connection, and deeper meaning? Are you willing to tap in and ask? And if you're wondering to yourself, like, I just don't know how to do this, I really don't. I've been in that place too, more times than I can count. It keeps coming up. It really does. So even as I choose into this, it keeps coming up that I could use more and more support. And my favorite question to ask is, universe, could you please show me? Could you help me to find how I've been not letting in the support that is available to me, how I can take care of me. And then in the space of taking care of me, support will rise up and show around myself. Can you show me, universe and body, how to take care of me and how to allow in everything that would contribute to the future that I truly desire to live, and let go of the control that is sabotaging, sorry for stuttering, sabotaging the future that I actually desire. I would love to know your thoughts on this. I would love to know, after you've played with these questions for a week or two, what actually starts to show up for you? How you start to show up for yourself in ways that you thought other people should have been doing it for you. And also in giving the space, so that breath of time in between your doing, how other people have risen up. And if they're not rising up, are you taking enough of a break in order to allow them to sense the break and then show up in it? And who is showing up? Is it people who are different than you expected, that you required? So sometimes we can have a projection or a requirement that it's certain people who are supposed to show up, but we don't acknowledge the people who are showing up that might be different. If you're asking for support, allow it to be whoever desires to pop into that place, whoever it blesses, and then leave the space open for even more. How much more of a miraculous life can you and I live as we begin to ask these questions and surrender some of the control, some of the doing, in order to care for ourselves and to allow in the space for greater support? Thanks so much for joining in. Continue to add your questions and your comments below the podcast image. I don't even know how to say it. So below it, on the side of it, I'm not exactly sure, but you can ask questions, you can put comments in. And please, please, please don't just download and listen. Please subscribe so that whenever I add new podcasts, you get alerts so that I can continue to come in and support your life. And we can continue to have this conversation and change the way that we're experiencing life together. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of The Academy of Being with Tara McCollum. You can be a part of creating the shows by sending in questions or comments, as well as sharing what is happening in your life as you apply these principles and tools. Don't hesitate to reach out.